Welcome to the Fail Fast podcast. Today's guest has built over 100 successful businesses. He's a pro athlete, a grappler, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he has over 100 million in sales. Today, here we have my friend, Andrei Tarasenco. Andrei, what's happening?
Hey, Gwen. Good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, buddy. Good. Thank you for coming. So listen, you've started over 100 successful businesses, and guarantee there had to be some that are not so successful. Or tell me about something that has not gone good, something that had failed for you.
Yeah. It's always a learning curve, and in our life, we're learning by doing mistakes usually. I mean, the best lessons we learn when we do mistake because we remember them, because they sometimes and very often very hard. So I would say in a business, the hardest lesson I learned to not work with friends. So when you have a friend and it's like more than just a relationship than you have with other people, and your level of communication and relationship is on certain level, and when you go and you decide to work together and build a business, it brings you to the completely different level of expectations and relationship. And this is the real life when you see each other from inside. Now you see different aspects of your friend, and he sees or she sees you from different perspective. And I learned in my life by bringing actually one of my businesses to multi-million dollar level, being with a friend in a business, that initially I shouldn't do this because it's brought us to the conflict at the end, which was the part of our friendship. So at the end of the day, there is no partnership and no friendship together because of money involved.
Yeah, it's sad that is the truth. It happens. You can be really close to somebody as a friend, but in business, not every relationship works.
Exactly. So how one of my mentors said, friends, real friends will always support you and help you. So keep friends as friends, because when you need a help, that's why they're there. But make money with people who have skills and competency for the work you want to do or the business you want to do.
Very good. So, Andre, you were born in Eastern Europe, then you studied in Sweden, and now you live in Canada. So
correct.
That's right there. That's already 3 countries that I know of you travel. That's more than a lot of people. And you've started businesses since you were a kid. At 8 years old, you started your first one. So tell me about that. What kind of business did you start at the age of 8?
As you mentioned, I'm from Republic of Moldova. It's one of the former Soviet Union republics between Romania and Ukraine. Very small, tiny, but very beautiful. Beautiful women, beautiful, and most tastes wine in the world.
Yeah.
Not harmful feeling to Portuguese people.
Mm-hmm.
So when Soviet Union collapsed, 5 years prior to this, in 1991, from 1986, it was a hard time. So the economy was driving down. So when I was 8, it was 1987, when already wasn't a good time where I was living. So and I'm thankful for this. So we as kids, we were looking for some benefits, playing around, but we didn't have really financial support from our families. So we were looking to buy those gummies or candies, you know. So we were sitting one day on the street playing, and I don't know, because it was always in my mind, like I want something, and I don't need to ask for anybody. I can get this, but I never thought to steal, to be honest with you. So it came to my mind, what about if we take buckets and go and try to wash somebody's cars? And probably it was because I was washing all the time car of my dad, and I was enjoying this because I could go inside and play around, you know. So I had really good, dedicated friends with me. So it's four of us. We went on the road, and we started tried to stop cars, and for, I don't remember, like for an hour or maybe more than an hour, nobody stopped, and we almost were, you know, close to leave this idea. And it's like in the book, Napoleon Hill, he's saying about these 3 feet before the goal, right? Right before we almost collapsed, this guy stopped. And he was blessing for us. He stopped. What do you want, guys? He asked. He said, "Oh, we can wash your car really fast, quick." And he said, "How much you want?" I don't remember how much we charged him. He gave us even more, but it took us so long, like almost an hour, I think. I remember he smiled. He was laughing, looking at us. But this gave me, I think, the best lesson for my next businesses that I launched, that to not give up, you know. Like at 8 years old, I realized that you should not give up. So this was my first experience. I actually never continued washing cars. It was my first and last time. But some of my friends actually were making good money with that and working for years washing cars from that moment.
So you guys would just grab the buckets and soap and go by a stoplight and stop the cars and ask to wash?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a hill actually, big, huge hill, 150 meters, I think, around 150 meters to get to the water, get from the pond. And it's very steep. So it was funny, yeah.
Nice. And you're also a professional athlete. You're grappler,
Yes.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So, how often do you fight, and do you train mixed with your businesses? I guess it takes a lot of your time too.
Yes, it's actually my lifestyle. I'm a stoic. I'm following stoicism, and being a grappler and being a martial artist, I live as almost like a warrior, and I train every single day. I don't compete as I used to compete, but I'm preparing for different competitions few times a year. I used to compete few times a month, but for last 2 years, I had transition period when developing different businesses and moving from one province in Canada to another one, establishing new place, buying new place, developing. I didn't compete that much, but I love competing because it's always remind me that you have to compete in life. You should not stop competing in life, because we always having opportunity to think, oh, again something happened, or some negativity happening in our mind. So by practicing these martial arts and giving me opportunity to live more positive life and with pride.
Very good. And you're also into keto. I know you just launched a new company, and
Yes.
you're a keto tutor. So tell me, first of all, what is a keto tutor for the ones that don't know? And let's talk a bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. This is actually the most passion project in my life. I started last year. Um, I was actually forced by so many relatives to do this, and I have to say a story behind this because it all has to do with my father, who was diagnosed with a cancer 20 years ago. And to make this short, we beat the cancer. I'm expressing myself. We beat the cancer with a long fasting. It was over 40 days fasting. We did this together, and we maintained the healthy lifestyle of his body for last 20 years with a ketogenic approach. So what is ketogenic? It's a form of energy, consuming energy by our body instead of consuming from our glycogen store in form of glucose that comes from carbohydrates. So it's a form of consuming energy from our fats in our cells in form of ketones. So by doing this, you helping your body to eliminate inflammation, which is the most important part actually in our health, whole entire health. It's all about inflammation. All disease has to do with inflammation. All bruises has to do with inflammation. Cancer is inflammatory disease. So when you know how to control your inflammation, you have an opportunity to succeed in being healthy. So this is short form of my story, how I came to this project. So it started around 3 years ago. My wife, my brother, many of my friends were saying, Andrei, every time we meet you, like, yeah, we're discussing here, there, but every time we meet you, all conversation comes to this topic. And you can talk like forever about this. And and that's why I came to a conclusion that I need to do something with that. And a year ago, Ketonify company was born, and I'm partnered up with a very successful person who has experience over 10 years in health and wellness, as well as the supplement business. So we partnered up and we formed this company. And our goal to not just help people, but transform and change over 1 million people's lives by being fat adopted. We call this being fat adopted because this is the goal of ketogenic diet.
Very good. And you said Ketonify was started a year ago, and it has been launched now?
Yes, exactly. So we launched our project actually 3 weeks ago. Yeah. So what we're doing at the moment, because this is very booming niche, I would say. If you go on the Google Trends, you'll be shocked. Like there is no even close to keto, like even paleo diet in terms of numbers around 20 when keto is 100 today, and it's growing dramatically. Atkins diet was something close to paleo, but never beat the paleo. So people like really are hope, they got a new hope to be healthy, to finally lose fat, because ketogenic diet is really a real deal. So around 3 weeks ago, we launched our business officially with 3 products. So we're not like any other companies that promoting ketogenic diet or keto lifestyle. Yeah. So we came to a conclusion that we want not just help people, but we want to do something that will give them long-term value. And that's why we have this project in place. So all steps we're doing towards helping people naturally achieve their goals.
Very good. And then, sorry, uh, this Ketonify is just products, and or it's more than just products.
Yeah, of course, it's more than just products. It's a whole movement. So people call me KetoTutor because I've been helping people for last 10 years, hundreds of people, um, helping for free, volunteering, no money involved, with health, not just losing fat, but actually living healthy life, with energy and maintaining health. So, and I took this approach into my company. So we're mentioning products. Yes, we do have physical products, but at the same time, we providing people a good platform in the form of Facebook group where we exchanging our experiencing. We helping them to achieve their goals, and we support by inspiring them, and by advising what to do and how to do, because there are so many different aspects in this direction that you need to know in order to succeed. Also, we're launching the coaching program at the moment that will help people to achieve their goals by having access one-on-one with me. It's something that I believe valuable and important. Like every successful person, doesn't matter athlete or celebrity, have coaches.
Yes.
Whether it's coach to public speaking or performance coach or diet coach. Yes, you can rely on your own desire and your own ability and power to have a successful plan. But unfortunately, statistics show us a different things and different numbers. Unfortunately, 98% of people fail. So that's why I came to a conclusion that I want to give opportunity to people to succeed. And that's why we're working on releasing our coaching program as well.
Okay, and so when so many people fail when they start diets, because normally a diet means that you have to change your habits, and people don't like changing their habits. Why would it work with keto?
Yeah, very, very good question, because there is a science behind this. And I don't know which other diet has the same kind of science. Um, and that's why we have this idea about the coaching, because the science showing us if you want to get rid of bad habits or you want to build a new habit, you need to give yourself 66 days. I don't know if you heard about this, but 66 days looks like a magic number. So for example, if you want to build a habit to wake up every single morning, you have to stick for these 66 days, and you'll be amazed that you build a new habit. You want to quit smoking, you'll be amazed in 66 days by surviving as an adult, but telling yourself, I need to survive during 66 days. You'll be amazed that you almost done with smoking. Same thing here. All our approach in our project has to do with these magic numbers, and of course some other techniques. But as I mentioned, when you become a fat adapted, that's why I'm kind of making this diet like no others, because as soon as you fat adapted, and I usually saying about 66 days you need to be a fat adapted. For some people it's early. Then the real magic coming in place. You'll be shocked how fast you can be satisfied with the food, that you don't have cravings anymore for sugars, and you don't have cravings for carbs, and etc. And you'll be shocked how much energy you have. So many other phenomenal aspects happening with your life when you come to the stage to being fat adapted. And that's why I strongly believe, not just because I have these 20 years of my a career with keto, but just because I see every single day all these successful stories of people going through keto lifestyle and changing their life for the best.
Okay. And just to demystify a little bit of what some people think, is being keto or being part of the keto diet, is it just eating fat and just eating meat?
Awesome. Very good question. I love it. And that's why I'm saying we need this coaching, because there are so many gurus that putting people into very misconception stage. And actually majority of them saying what you just mentioned. You need to eat fat as much as possible. So in reality, it has to do with controlling your insulin spikes.
Okay.
So I have to go and dive a little bit deeper here, and I'll try to be short. So I mentioned previously about inflammation on inflammatory stage of your body. So in order to control inflammation in your body, you need to control your insulin spikes, because insulin, it's a builder hormone. It can build muscles, and actually it can build your fat. So, and it has to do also in combination of chemistry when you can support your inflammatory stage by spiking insulin. So when you know this, it's giving you right now tools to manage your life by not spiking insulin and have your body feel greater, because right now you don't have that much inflammation going on in your body. Now, by knowing this, you should understand that actually controlling insulin has nothing to do with eating too much fat. It just has to do with not eating too much carbohydrates. This is the most important part. Now, and this is misconception. People know that you should not eat more than certain amount of carbs, and some people saying 50, some people saying 20. I would say 20 is the best, so control 20. But then they're saying you should rely on fat as much as possible, and there is evidence actually that fat can spike your insulin too, but on the same time, calories are calories. So when you overeating your calories and you don't spend those calories, you don't see progression. This is where many people fail. There are many other aspects of the fat as well, but the most important part I would say here is actually controlling carbohydrates intake. Now, protein and other macros. I do strongly believe, because I've been working with so many people, you need to eat proteins. And as you're getting older, you need to eat more proteins, because it has to do with your muscles building concept. It has to do with your mitochondria as well, with many other metabolic processes in your body. So the ratio for everything is important, but I would say the most important part, you don't need to eat that much fat as many people saying on ketogenic diet.
Very good.
As you need to control your carbohydrates intake.
So that means carbs would be the number one enemy, and not really the sugar?
Well, sugar is part of carbs, right? Carbs comes from in form of fiber and sugar. So by knowing this, you understand it's sugar are carbohydrates. So it's all has to do with controlling how much you intake on a daily basis.
So if you can control your insulin spikes,
Yeah.
does that mean you can control certain types of diabetes?
Yes, exactly. Actually, one of my podcast was with a person from Australia, and he has phenomenal blog. and his desire to start this journey was based on his wife, diabetes. And it's a very huge topic, but in generally, there are different types of diabetes. But generally saying yes, my answer is yes, because as soon as you start controlling your insulin spike, you will not need that much insulin intake artificially in form of injections. And now you will have more energy now, and you will have more stable sugar balance in your body, which is crucial for diabetic people. Exactly. So keto giving diabetic people opportunity right now to change their life as well.
And are there certain foods that are like the best thing that a person in keto would want?
I don't want to discriminate people who are vegetarians, because there are ways to be on keto and being vegetarian. But I personally rely on meat, and I think especially animal organs. I'm a hunter as well, and historically speaking, I believe you will not find so much balance, nutrition balance, as you can find in organs and in meat. Just to compare with any other nutritionally speaking plants, you need way more consumption in form of grams or kilograms that you can get from meat or animal organs. For example, just a liver itself in 50 grams, enormous amount of minerals and vitamins. So if to speak about preference of food, I like meat. And meat, it's a balanced combination of insulin spikes and your energy, and it's giving you opportunity to have a really healthy digestion system as well as the gut health. But I have to say that when we talk about the meat, I'm preferring the gaming meat, which is wild meat. If you cannot get that one, of course, your next choice should be organic meat. And even organic meat doesn't say that much. You should know what that animal was fed with, because some grains, they comes with a genetically modified approach, and it's also give animals meat a different structure. So yeah.
So that's something else too, that the meat that is being grown nowadays, you never know what they have, what they've been eating, what they've been injected with, like growth hormones and stuff. So you're saying that not all meat is good meat. You still have to find the organic, grass-fed, and
antibiotics free.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. One thing I can mention here, because this is a business podcast, right? I helping different business people also to have ketogenic approach, because I believe by controlling your insulin spikes, you actually control your energy. And we know as a business owners how important to have energy during the day, because most of our work happening inside of our brain, and we know fatigue and being without energy is an issue for many business owners. So being fat adapted is giving you opportunity to actually focus on what you love to do, not being dependent on the food.
So by not being hungry all the time, do you believe that you can be more focused on your work?
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. You can be more productive, and I can promise that you can be twice much productive as you right now if you one of those who is experiencing fatigues, lack of energy, because your brain will function differently. Your overall lifestyle will be completely changed, because you have, I call this hormones game in place. Now you feel more happy during the day, and sometimes you'll be shocked, like you never felt that previously. And it's again has to do with insulin spikes. And the proof of his, like, let's imagine kids that eating too much sugar, they're hyperactive, and what's happening after? Boom, collapsing, crashed, because of it's because of insulin spike. So when you regulate this, your body is telling you, thank you so much, I will give you back. Now your body finds on its own how to function properly. And it's one thing, but to be more specific here, now your brain is actually consuming like a jet fuel instead of simple gasoline. Now you're giving your body like the best of the best. But of course, there is a transition zone, adaptation zone. Before you start feeling that, you actually need your body adjust to this stage.
How about caffeine? That's something that I don't live without. I always have my coffee, and well, several of them. How is that caffeine? Does that do the same thing? Give me a spike, and of course, it's not insulin from caffeine, but it does give me a spike. And are there lows? And does that influence anything in keto?
Yeah, it's actually a big movement about the coffee right now, and I love coffee myself. I drink coffee myself, but what I want to say here, we all are different people, and we build different, we were created different, and for some people, some products will not be a good fit. And I will not go deeper like who are those people, but if you have problem with sleep, or you actually feel that you start being dependent on caffeine, I mean, without caffeine you can leave, it means it's actually controlling you. It means that you need to do something about that. And usually I'm saying to people, it's like it's hard for those who actually drinking over 5 cups a day, but you need to reset your body and try to give yourself fasting without coffee. So just at least 10 to 14 days, so 2 weeks without coffee, to see if you can feel better. And the ketogenic diet, because people trying to combine intermittent fasting is another thing, and keto together. So intermittent fasting is when you don't eat more hours, and your window of eating is less than your fasting window. It calls intermittent fasting. So, and people actually helping themselves to extend this time with caffeine, because caffeine helping you to control your hunger. And some of those people, they drinking too much, and then they have sleep problems. I love coffee, as I said, and I recommending to drink coffee, but I'm always trying to say, if something controlling you, make sure to not have this in place. And I can give an advice actually on coffee. Coffee can be very toxic, and I've been studying coffee actually. I would suggest people to find a good coffee by having research on organic coffee and single origin. What it means by single origin, it's not a blended coffee. Usually blended coffee, it's almost left over. Mm-hmm. It's not a good coffee that you want to get into your body. And usually it's a lot of pesticides and many other chemicals that were sprayed on the coffee plantations. So the single origin, it means from one farm, from one person. And it's usually like even picked by hands. So organic single origin, this is way to go. There are many other aspects you want to look for coffee, but this is what I would suggest.
Nice. And about other businesses that you have had, you've started several businesses. What's another business that had been your passion? This is your biggest one, of course.
Well, it's a new startup. I actually having business consulting company on same time, and right now I'm focusing on this new startup. But I've been doing business consulting for over 20 years, and this was one of the best feeling ever I had. I like helping people, so I've been helping small and middle-sized businesses, and then I slightly made transition into the middle size of businesses only, and this was actually a blessing for me because I had the opportunity to work with offline businesses, starting my journey after I graduated, and then I shifted to online businesses with the same approach, and I had a really good successful rate with people, and it was something that I really enjoying to do as well.
And you're also a funnel hacker, and a lot of people probably don't know what this is. So would you want to explain, because I know you have masterminds with some of the biggest funnel minds in the world, and you're part of some big groups out there. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. We're always learning. Like, I think I'll be a student all my life because life is always changing. That's why we're part of different masterminds. What is funnel hacker? It's when you actually looking at the market today and you take like any niche and you see what is performing well, and you're using different tools to find out this. And it doesn't mean like you're stealing somebody's idea. It means that you look what is working today on the market, right? And this is the best approach to find what works well today. Go just copy this into your project, and you have better opportunity and more chances to succeed rather than go and create brand new things and hope that it will work.
Exactly. So don't reinvent the wheel. Look for what's working and just replicate what's working for others. And
sometimes you'll be shocked. And this is what from my online experience, like especially with funnels, it's crazy. I would say that it's really crazy because sometimes, like especially in supplement business, you go and you want to launch a product, and now you're researching what works well, because it's not just what the product works well. You also want to know your audience, your avatar, right? Where is your target group? And this is where the real hacking part happening, because you want to understand if you create a funnel, it will be exactly for your audience. And it has to do with so many aspects: copy, style of your funnel, even color of your buttons, and overall design. And sometimes you'll be crazy shocked what type of funnels convert well, because you look at this funnel and sometimes you feel like this is ugly. Like it doesn't look nice, but then you build a funnel like beautiful, like art, and it doesn't even doesn't convert even close to that ugly funnel, because it has to do with many aspects of what people experiencing and what they trust and how they feel when they're landing on your particular funnel.
Very good. And how are some of the techniques that you use to find your customer's avatar? How do you know who exactly is your client?
Yeah, so it has to do with what you're doing. So if it's our ketogenic niche, there are many other avatars you should consider. And I'll give you an example. I'm an athlete, right? And I like to work with athletes. And my avatar, if I take the athletic approach, will be athletes. So I have to learn everything possible about athletes who want to succeed, who want to perform, etc. So, and we do deep research, and we create ideal avatar face by even giving that avatar name. We create story behind that avatar. And what we're doing, actually, why we're doing this, because we take a scale of at least 1,000 people who has the same similarity in their life. For example, they're married, they're over 25, they're doing same sport, they have same lifestyle, they're following same artists, they like to watch same shows, etc., etc., etc. So we want to find out the common things in our niche, and then we're creating a story, and this story helping us to build actually a business with our team. Because now, as soon as someone coming into our team as a new member, we explain them about our business, but now we explain them about our avatar. So when they're doing part of their duty, even like controlling social media or writing email or driving traffic, they know our avatar. You know, and if someone doing some mistake, they say, "Oh, are you sure we talking with our avatar?" Some people actually, even not related to their responsibility, can correct because they know our avatar. Yeah, I think this is success of any business, to know who you're talking to.
I think so too. And do you know of any tools for example, one of the easy ways to go look for an audience is if I start a company that sells, I don't know, silicone spatulas, I would go find the biggest silicone spatula seller out there, a competitor, look for his audience and just try to realize who my audience is. Is there any tools that you know of that can study somebody else's audience?
Yes. So what we do actually, we have a very, very specific procedure. What we do, we like Amazon. We love Amazon. If we've talked about the online business, we love Amazon. Amazon today is actually, it's a competition for Google, right? It's like a huge library for everything. So what we're doing, we go and we're trying to find books related to our niche. And the secret sauce here, as you find a book related to your niche, you go to those comments people making, right? Or reviews. Amazon people know what is reviews about.
Yeah.
So you go and you're trying to find real reviews, and you start seeing how people are expressing themselves and what they're saying. And now you start feeling a language of people. Now you start feeling like how they express themselves, what they're saying, and you'll be amazed like what you can find with doing this research. People sometimes can point to you good and bad things. Sometimes they even can give you a business idea what you need to do actually by just reading those reviews. It's happened with me. We had like this one funnel that was crazy by just doing this particular exercise. Also, we using Facebook Insights. So Facebook Insights is a very, very unique and free tool you can use today to find the audience in your niche, and you go in Facebook Insights, you type your niche keys, and trying to find your audience first. And then by doing this, you can find so many features related to this. What people like, what is a most liked page, what is celebrity they're following, etc., etc., related page to your niche. And then you dive so deep into this topic, and this procedure can take time. What you do next, you go to those pages. Of course, you're doing a spreadsheet. Now you're trying to find dedicated fans. And you're trying to find people who actually writing long posts. They comment and they take time to comment. It means they care. And you will find those people. You find those people. Now you take those people, go to their profiles. You go to their profiles, and then the number one thing you want to look at is actually what they like. And every Facebook profile, there is a button where you can, it's open information to see what those people like. And you can see what pages they like. Now, you don't need to do this actually. You can outsource this to VAs, virtual assistants, who can do this for you. So now, you're creating a Google spreadsheet where your goal to find common things. So now you're creating your avatar spreadsheet list, and you make, okay, the first row will be what they like. And you're trying to find the same page they like. So when you find similarity or common things in your avatar, you can build right now your avatar picture. And when you be building an offer for your market, you will know so much already about your avatar and their desire. You'll be able to speak same language. You'll be able to create offer that resonate with their desire and their needs. Also, what we're doing as a funnel hacking, we actually spying on our people. Oh, what Andrei is saying, they're spying. But we're doing this for the best. And it's official tool that people can use. Many companies providing this. Hotjars, Mouseflow, Orange. And in e-commerce, it's a very common thing. It's what you're doing. You actually recording experience of people when they're landing on your page, or other people saying they use heat maps also. Why you need this? We call spying because it's really spying, but you want to improve your offer. The only reason you use this tool, it's not by sitting and like, oh, he's clicking here, oh, he's clicking there. No, you want to find out how to improve your offer. And sometimes you also be surprised, you can find mistakes, your own mistakes that you created in the funnel by actually watching how people experiencing your funnel.
And just for the record, for those that are listening, when Andrei says that we marketers do this all the time, and you're not looking at, you don't know who the person is, right? You don't know if it is Andrei that's on your computer or Andrei's wife or the neighbor. You know that somebody is there, and you can see where they're looking at, where their mouse is going. And just so you know, they're not tracking a particular person. And also, just for the disclaimer, if any transaction is done that involves credit card, or that cannot be recorded, softwares don't record credit card numbers. That's why you always go to HTTPS sites that are secure sites. And you mentioned that you can find mistakes, and I have the same kind of tools and heat maps where I can track what my visitors are doing on some of my e-commerce sites. And it's pretty cool that on one of them, I could see that you can see the duration, and it plays for us when we're looking at it, plays almost like a video of our web page, and you can see the person's mouse where it's going. And the ones that had a longer duration, you know, sometimes people go on your website and they're there for 1 minute, 2 minutes, And I could see some of them for 15, 20 minutes and 1 hour. And when somebody's on your site for 1 hour,
Yeah.
let me tell you, there's only one thing they could be doing, and that is nothing. They were on your site and they walked away. They forgot it. So that's when somebody spends that amount of time on your site is, life happens. Somebody call them lunchtime, dinner time, they walked away, and there's nothing happening. But the 15, 10 minutes, I noticed I found mistakes on my sites. And there was buttons that people clicked and they were trying to contact the page. And when they went on to try to contact the page, it would never send. So they could fill a form, tell me what was wrong, what they wanted, and the form will not send. So it's always get an error. And I wasn't getting any contacts. I wasn't getting any information unless I watched these videos. And that's how I realized that my contact us page wasn't actually working. So
Nice.
positive things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you a funny story. We launched. My wife decided to go into the e-commerce, and she was doing drop shipping very successfully. Actually, she was driving traffic, Facebook, and now she had already experience, and now she's launching new funnel. And she was pretty sure that this funnel will be like crazy, like nice, everything will be good. So she launching driving traffic, no sales for 3 days. She's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I was so confident because it was funnel. She took offer from Shopify store. It's supposed to be like right now, better conversions. So, I asked her, did you see what people experiencing when they landing on your page? Like, go and check. So here we go. We're looking, and it was like first, second, and then third recordings, and I'm saying like, do you know what is the problem? She said, what? Tell me where they can input their credit cards. So she did imagine like this is a big mistake, but it was something like because she was too busy, she was like working hard actually, and she just forgot simple but most important part,
Yeah, I've done one similar, and I'll just tell it here really quick. But it was, merch by Amazon, where
Yeah.
you create merchandise and Amazon fulfills it. And there was one that was related to only one Canadian city. And I did this shirt, and it was just for that Canadian city. And normally when I create merch, it's just general for anybody. And for that particular one, I created a Facebook campaign because that was going to be so good. And I was going to sell it to one city, the entire city. And I created that. I created a Facebook campaign, launched it, and none sold. None. No one. And on Amazon, you cannot see where people were clicking or in anything. So I decided after a while, I turned off the Facebook campaign, and I went there to figure it out. I wanted one myself, and I went to buy one myself. And when I got to the checkout, Amazon told me, we do not ship this item to Canada. So
Wow.
that's what happened with everybody. They were clicking on my ad. They were going there. They can add to cart, but you cannot. They wouldn't ship to Canada. So that was it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. We're learning this.
Yeah. Testing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Andrei, you mentioned your wife. You've been married for over 20 years, and for over 20 years.
15.
15?
I'm married 15, but I met this girl exactly 20 years ago.
Okay. You've been together 20 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're still madly in love with her today as you were 20 years ago.
Yes. And
good thing you said yes. Yeah, very good. Andrei, congratulations. You have a beautiful family and nice kids. Do you also teach kids? I saw some videos of you Wrestling with kids. Are you instructor too?
Yes, yeah. Part of my martial artist journey is teaching, and I teach twice a week. Um, I teach adults, uh, and of course, I teach my kids as well, and they uh, enjoying this. I believe I gave them opportunity to have the best skills they could have, mentally and physically speaking. So all my three kids, my two girls, 6, 9, practicing jujitsu, and my son who's 13 as well, practicing jujitsu, and they all three competing, um, which I also think important for giving kids opportunity to compete in any competition, so they know what is life about, um, because they need to learn as soon as possible that there is failures, right? As your podcast, fail fast. So I'm giving them opportunity to fail fast as soon as possible. And I will add you here one thing. My oldest daughter, she's doing jiu-jitsu for 2 years already, and she's been competing, I think, like 7, 8 times, and she never placed any place. And she was frustrated, of course, but she's always wanted to compete. And last competition, she won gold, and this gold was so sweet because she had really, really hard competitors, and she had already good skills in place. I was shocked. I was crying because I seen her using techniques. It means that she learned something, and she learned that she had so many failures in her life. And when she won gold, you should see her emotions. She won this with all integrity, all pride. And she said to me in 8 years old, I did this, you know?
Let me
Wow.
ask you something about that because it's something that personally I disagree with, and I want to hear your opinion. Is when kids now go into a competition and they come in the last place and they are given a medal. Do you agree with giving a medal to the last place?
No, no, because same as you have name of your podcast, I repeat myself. Um, Kids need to learn how to deal with failures. And when you give them opportunity to think that it's okay to fail, because it's still, I mean, it's okay to fail and to leave this as it is, and to not learn from this, that you're still getting some award from there. It's not real life. So when they're growing as adults, I believe these people will have harder life because they will not know how to deal with real failures in their life.
Exactly. That and the fact that the person that won is going to get the medal just like the last one is going to take the value of the one that actually won and worked hard to get this.
Yeah, and our obligation as parents to have conversation, to teach them, to explain them what's going on, why. Even if it will take 10 times to explain, 100 times to explain, the water can sharp the stone. And this is what happened with my daughter. You know, another example of my son. Last competition he had a few months ago, we went to Vancouver, and he signed up and he didn't see divisions, his division, who is in his division. And I don't like to look myself when I'm competing, but because of his brother-in-law, my nephew, he called my son. He said, did you see who's in your division? And my son comes to me completely sad, kind of like under pressure, and he said, you know what, there are these two brothers, and those in his division, and those two brothers, like, phenomenal guys. They train 3 times a day, versus my son 3 times a week, and they just super technical, like they dedicating almost their life into this sport. And And my son was very emotional, and he's a very humble guy, not aggressive, and he was almost close to quit, to not even go to the competition. Imagine, without, like, he almost was ready to give up. So I had this conversation with him. I explained him that, you see, he still need to go and have this experience. And here we go. We went, and he had four roles with them, 4 fights with those guys, 2 of which, and he lost both brothers for all 4 times. One of those fights, he gave his best. He almost submit the guy. But here's the thing again. After everything, we went to a restaurant. My son came to me. He's teenager, 13 years old. He hugged me so hard, and he said to me, to my ear, "Thank you so much. I know and I understand why I should come here, and I really appreciate that you helped me to come here. I learned so much from this competition today. And it doesn't matter that I actually failed, because I learned so much, especially because of that one fight, which was the 3rd one. He was close to submit the guy. He had him in a triangle, but the guy, because of his techniques, he was able to get out. But for me personally, this was one of the best victory ever in my life, when my son expressed himself this way. So it was something fantastic that you can have.
That is fantastic. And he didn't fail, even though he didn't win the fights. Failing was giving up. That would have been the failure. Going to this that was a win.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And why I love this sport, because it's kind of creating artificially stage of your life when you want to give up, especially in competition. When you go to competition and train in the club, it's 2 different things, completely 2 different things. And when you go and you compete, and this is what I will tell you from my experience, after each roll you want to give up, because you feel you don't have energy. You're so exhausted. You're like, oh, I don't want this anymore, because so much cortisol, so much stress. But as soon as you're done and you tried this once, you're almost like addicted right now, because you understand that you went through the life experience, which you cannot buy. It's impossible to buy this experience.
That's for sure. So Andrei, before I let you go, I want to ask you about a favorite book that you have that has changed you.
Favorite book. Let me actually show you one. This book changed my life. It's a Miracle Morning book. And I know my business partner in Ketonify project on a journey to change his life, and it changed my wife's life. I know it changed one of my e-commerce mentors' lives. This is how I was actually able to discover this book through him. His name is Trey Llewellyn. And many other people I know personally, they were able to change their lives. Why and how? Imagine, as a business owner, to deal right now not with managing your time, but adding more time in your life. How about adding 1 day in your week, or over 50 days a year? 50 days a year, it's 1.5 months additional in a year. Instead of having 12 months, now you have 13. For some people, 14 months a year. How come? And I'll explain you. Yes, it has to do with managing your time, but it has to do with actually disciplining yourself, waking up earlier than anybody. And you can start from 6 a.m., for some people maybe 7 a.m., but your goal is to be at least at 5 or 4. or if to be honest with you, 3 is the best. 3 a.m. Now, what you can do, you can go to the bed together with your kids, but you can be done by the time kids is over from their school. This is how my actually lifestyle looks like. I'm waking up between 4 and 5. I work all day. I have break when I waking up kids, take them to the school, but I work all day until they in the school, and then I take them from the school, and this is when my day is over, and it's usually by 3 o'clock. And I work more than 8 hours a day. But there are so many certain aspects that needs to be explained here, but I will say only one. Your productivity will skyrocket because your brain functioning way better in those hours in the morning. Way better. It's almost impossible to compare with when you wake up at 8 or 9. So that's why it's giving you and so many ideas or decisions happening during those hours. And I'm talking from my personal experience and many others. So if you never heard about this, Miracle Morning is the way to go. And I want to tell you that there are many famous people doing this. Billionaires.
Yeah,
So it's not new.
No, I've heard of a couple of those billionaires that I every now and then watch their videos, inspirational videos, and they do mention, they never mentioned the book, but they mentioned that they do that. Some of them do get up at 3 a.m. and it's hard for certain people that are used to being nocturnal and sometimes working until 3 a.m., which sometimes I, on my other podcast, sometimes 3 a.m. is when I launch it. But yeah, I'm going to have a look at that. And for everybody else listening, it is The Miracle Morning or Miracle Mornings. And who's the author? Andrei, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Hal Elrod.
All right, Hal Elrod. Very good. And to everybody that's interested in knowing more about keto, knowing more about Ketonify, where do they find you?
Yeah, so they can actually find our 2 ways. They can actually download my free book, ketobook.online. It will bring you to the opportunity to download for free my book. And our company website is Ketonify, F-I at the end.com. So it's ketonify.com.
Awesome. I'll have that on the show notes. And it's ketonify.com and ketobook.online.
Exactly. And if you want to see what is our whole entire umbrella company about and learn about a little bit about myself and my business partner, you can go to our company website, stoic.group. Stoic.group.
Stoic.group. Awesome. I'll add that to the show notes as well. Andrei, awesome. Thank you so much for coming. It was a pleasure, and we'll keep in touch, of course, like we always do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Have a good one.
You do.